Hello and welcome back to Cast On, a knitting podcast where I talk about my finished objects, whips, some yarn acquisitions and some more knitting things. My name is Ellie, I'm from Austria and this is episode number 32. Hello, I am so glad you could join me once again. I hope you're doing well. I do have a sunburn. I was at a customer's house yesterday for work and I sat in the sun for only about an hour and a half, but I clearly underestimated how strong the sun still is. So excuse my red face and my red arm. It is just on the right side because I sat facing forwards but the sun came from the right, so it looks a bit awkward and weird. So excuse that, but apart from that, I hope you are all well and excited for this episode because I have so many things to show you and I think we can just get straight into it. I do have a cup of coffee today because I bought some of the syrups and I bought a pumpkin spice syrup, so now I have made my own pumpkin spice latte and that's what I'm gonna be drinking today. Anyways, let's get on with finished objects. I have 3 finished objects. Yes, that is very unusual for me, but I really wanted all of them done and that's what I did. The first one is my Hayley slipover by Hiris Makes. This is, I am so happy with this piece. I'm not sure where I was last time, but now it's completely finished. I had to redo the neck twice because I did not realize how you were supposed to make this really nice middle here. So I had to do it again, but that's fine. And it's already blocked, so it's super nice and drapey and all of the cables are really open. And I also stretched it a little bit to have more length because before it was a bit short on me, but now it just fits perfectly. So this is what it looks like. This is the back. Like I said, I am so happy with this piece. The yarn is CaMaRose and I have the information linked down below because I talked about this so many times, but I feel like the yarn opened up really nicely. It didn't bloom as much as I thought it would, but it's not holey anymore, which I was very concerned at before. So I think it's now a really nice dense fabric without being too see-through. The colour has grown on me, I have to say. I still have to try wearing it with my office wear or like other pieces from my wardrobe. It's still not picking up the colour that it actually is. I said this many times before, I have such a hard time showing you this colour because it's very orangey greeny brown, but it hasn't been cold enough for me to actually wear this piece, which is super sad. The temperatures are just really weird. They're going up and down like crazy. One day it's 25, the next day it's 29. I just want the heat to be over. I mean, September is almost over and I'm here for autumn. I want autumn vibes and weather and everything else. So I'm really happy with this piece. The pattern itself is really well written. I can only say good things about it. I am really happy that I made this and I might make another one if this one is not as wearable as I think or as I thought it would be. But eventually I think I would like to make a second one in a more neutral colour. I do have grey yarn, a lot of grey yarn, so this might be a really good option because grey yarn really shows the cables. And yeah, For the sizing, I think I made size B. I have it all on my Ravelry page. I'm trying to take really good notes for you on Ravelry, so you can check that out if you want to. But yeah, that is my first finished object. Very happy with it. And my second finished object is still very damp, so I'm trying to be very gentle with it and not like, I don't know, whack it around too much. It is my Moby sweater. The Moby sweater by PetiteKnit is a drop shoulder design with a gorgeous cable going down the front and the sleeves, and this is what it looks like. I have completed it. Last time I think I only had the first sleeve. I still have to try it on. I did try it on before I put it in the wash. I like soaked it and then blocked it, but it hasn't been, I don't know why, it's still damp. It hasn't been that hot in the apartment, I think, and that's why it took so long. I put this in water 2 days ago, so technically it should be dry by now, but it's not. So I don't know if that's just the yarn or because the room is not hot enough for it to evaporate faster, or maybe I just didn't squeeze out as much water as I could have done. Those are all the options that I have, but I am super happy. I think it looks gorgeous. Like I said, I haven't tried it on yet because it's so damp, but I have tried it on before I put it in water, and it was a bit short. I probably should have stuck with the ribbing measurements that she gave in the pattern, which was I think 8 centimeters or 10 centimeters of ribbing. I only did about 3 or 4. Just because I thought it would be too long, but I always make this mistake where I think something might be too long and then it's too short in the end. It did grow quite substantially, I think, which, I don't know, I always have this problem. I'm always on gauge before I block it, and then with blocking, even though I'm not stretching it or doing anything to the garment, it kind of grows. So I hope it's not too big, but because I am such a small person and the ease that the pattern gives you is already a lot. I think it's 15 to 20 centimeters or something like that. Most of her patterns are around that measurement anyways. It's going to be quite big, so I just hope that I won't have these flaps under the arms where you can really see that, I don't know, that the drop goes halfway down my forearm, because then you also have this amount of fabric on the body. So we'll just have to see. I will show you the hopefully dry garment next time, and I will show it on, because I'm also really looking forward to seeing that. But about the pattern itself, I think it's really well written. I can totally see why people are so in love with it. I'm definitely gonna make a second one. The second one will probably be not for me, but I had a really nice time making this garment. The sleeves did drag a little bit, which is quite odd because the sleeves are normally quicker because it's a small circumference. But I don't know why, it just took a bit longer. But I powered through. I just put on a TV series that I'm watching at the moment and powered through it. Also, I have lots and lots of my hair knitted into this garment because I have such long hair, and you can really see that because of the yarn. The yarn is an off-white colour, and I just realised I haven't told you what yarn I used. I used Filcolana Tilia in the standard off-white. It's colour 101, I think, and it drops Karisma, which is a super wash wool, and that one was colour number 1, so just a neutral as well. And it still has the really nice halo and it's super nice and fluffy as well. So I hope it will dry super fast, because I really want to wear this, even though the weather might not agree with me just yet. So let's try and put this to the side without stretching it too much, so it can dry a little bit longer. About the sweater, I don't know if it's the yarn itself or if it's me, but I feel like Drops Karisma is always a little bit see-through for me. Maybe that's just because it's still a bit damp and it hasn't filled out all of the gaps yet, or the yarn just doesn't really bloom as much as I think it should or would whenever I make something. So this garment is a bit see-through when I put my hand in between the layers. It is a bit holey and you do see what is underneath, so I hope once it's fully dry that won't happen anymore, but I guess I'll just have to see. But that's just something I've noticed. Right, and I have a third finished object, and it is my sock. This is just a plain vanilla sock, and yeah, really just nothing special. I blocked it. I don't have sock blockers still. I really do need to get some. If you have any recommendations on good ones, then you can leave them down below. I am looking for some sock blockers. I think Etsy might be the best place to get them, because for some reason no yarn shop sells them that I've been to or where I order from. So I don't know where to find them. But this is my vanilla sock. It is very big. I have tried it on and it is very loose. I knew that before because I cast on the wrong amount of stitches, because I was originally gonna make a different sock, but because of the white variegation that you have in the yarn itself, you can even barely see the ribbing. So that's why I said, okay, I will just make a plain vanilla sock because you won't be able to see the pattern anyways. This time though, and this is a first for me, I opted for a rounded toe. I used a tutorial. I can leave the link down below. I forgot her name. And what you do with the front of the sock, and I'm not sure if that's the standard version to do it. This is, like I said, the first time I've done a rounded toe. You divide the amount of stitches by 6, and on each of these 6 points you decrease every third row, and at the end you're left with only 6 stitches, and then you loop the yarn through all of those 6 stitches and then you weave the end in. But it gave me this weird triangle shape and it looks really odd when I put it on, so it's not the fully rounded tip that I hoped it would give me. I don't know if that's because, like I said, I don't have a sock blocker to give it the rounded shape, or what the problem kind of is. If you know anything about that, let me know as well. It also doesn't fit right on my foot. I think I should stick with the normal vanilla sock decreases, where you have like 2 lines going up and then you have like a flat section. These I think fit a bit better. I just really wanted a rounded toe also to try it, but it's very tight around my toes and then it has too much room up here. Obviously I'm gonna make the second sock just as I did the first one, otherwise it wouldn't fit together. But yeah, I still really like the yarn. It is really soft. It softened up so much with the soak and the blocking. I'm using Ferner Wolle, Lungauer Socken, and this is where we get into whips, because I already started the second sock. Here is the yarn once again. This is just a side project. It's for my travels and my commute to and from work. Ferner, Wolle, Lungauer, Socken, and it's got cotton in it. It's a cotton and wool blend in the colour 520/22. I showed this many times before now, but I actually really like it, and I still think that the colour grade or variations, it looks really nice. It makes me really happy because it reminds me very much of a sunset. So I have started the second sock like I just said, and if I compare these two, the wash one, it's so much softer, which is good. So for this sock I'm just doing exactly the same thing as I did with the first one. I did not match them colour wise. I'm not really bothered about these things, so I just kind of stopped or started the second sock where I stopped with the first one, so the colour would be like this. But it's actually really similar. I started the sock around here, so I feel like that's still okay. It's not as if I would start with the really bright orange, but like I said, I don't really care about these things because I want to make the most of my yarn and not waste a damn string. Right, that is my first whip. And then I do have 1, 2, 3, 4-ish whips more. And these are all new whips. For my summer wrap cardigan, the wool hasn't come back. I'm waiting for it to get back in stock, so sadly there's no update there, which makes me sad because I'm so close to finishing it and I could really use that garment right now once it's still cold in the morning but hot during the day. But what can you do? So let's start with this one here. If you have watched my last video about my autumn and winter knitting plans, these will be very familiar to you. You also seem to really like that video, which obviously makes me very happy. And this is something I've wanted to cast on for a while. I've had the yarn for a long time as well. This is the Ali's sweater by Sarah Opie, and isn't it gorgeous? Oh, it looks so good. The colours just make me so happy. They just scream autumn. This is Olivia and Oliver Fibers Merino DK in the colour Shell and Mahogany. Really beautiful variegated yarn, and the contrast is just really good. I started out with the folded over collar. I think that's what the pattern recommends, and then you just knit it together or sew it down, whatever you prefer, and then you start with the short rows. So these here are the short rows. They go all around, obviously the front, so the sides and the back, and then a little bit at the front right here, and then you start with the actual pattern. This is what it looks like. Oh, it's so beautiful. I am so happy. You work on 4.5 millimeter needles, and the yarn is just so nice to work with. It's very round, it's very smooth. Sorry, I got something in my nose. Maybe some mohair, whatever. And I'm making the size 1. I'm making size A, and I think it's gonna be really good. Right now I'm on the second repeat of the pattern itself. You have, I think, 3 or 4 repeats in total of this diamond shape, and I'm just waiting to be done with the colour work so I can knit on just the stockinette portion, because I crave stockinette things. I just don't want to use a lot of my brain. I don't really want any more cables at the moment, just something really simple. But I realized that all of the projects that I kind of have on my needles, they do require colour work. I just want stockinette, like I said, something easy, something simple. So I can't wait to finish the colour work portion and then split for sleeves and then work on the body, because this yarn just makes me work on this a lot. And this has been super fast as well. This is progress of only a few days and it's so enjoyable. About the pattern itself, I think it is very well written. I like that she includes like these buttons that you can click on, then it hops to the page that you want to. For example, with the written instructions, she also has a chart, so you can click on the thing and then it jumps automatically to the charts, which are at the bottom of the PDF. So that is really handy. But I have to say, I struggle a lot with reading the pattern. I think it's very nice visually, but for me there's just too much going on. There are just too many things on the page, so I do struggle a little bit with that, but hopefully it will get better, because now I kind of know what I'm doing. Before that, you really had to tick off row by row what you're doing, otherwise it would have just been too much. So I'm really happy with that. I'm very much looking forward on knitting on that. I don't think it's going to be like a project I can take with me anywhere, because you do colour work and you need at least the 2 skeins, but maybe when I'm working on the body I can take that and it's not too big. So that was my second whip. Put this over there. My third whip is also a colourwork sweater. This time it is a round yoke sweater. It is Tuku by the Petite knitter. The cable is a bit too short for the sweater I'm working on right now, but I've also been really enjoying working on this. Lately I've just started making all of the ribbing sections because they seem really easy and quick, and then it just continues on with the sweater. I don't know how that happens all of a sudden, but it did. So this is it. Let's sort it out. It looks so good. I am so happy with it. This is exactly what I was looking for and what I wanted. I really liked her sample and I just wanted to recreate that, and I think I'm doing a pretty good job. So this is 100% British wool 4-ply by Woolly Knit. It came on a cone. This is their normal white colour and cinnamon brown. I'm holding the yarn double to get a DK weight gauge, and it is quite rough, but once you start wearing it and after a few washes, I think it softens up really nicely. I have another sweater in this yarn and it's one of my favorite sweaters of all time. So this is the Tuku. You have a really high neck up here, and then you start with the colour work. Isn't it just nice? I did mess up a little bit at the beginning because I held the yarn too tightly, so it's puckering, and you can definitely see that in the first few rows here. I did a really good job here because I tried super hard not to do that. I'm catching my floats regularly, but I just didn't pay attention, so it's puckering here. But then I even it out further down, and now it's laying flat-ish. So this is the colour work. Like I said, it's a bit hard to see because the cable is just not long enough. I am on the second big row of the colour work section. So you have the small one, and then you have a bigger motif, which is for me the first one, and then you have also a bigger one, which is the second one, and then another one, and then you're done with the colour work. I don't know if that makes any sense. You see it on the picture of her sample. But I just finished the first big motif, and now I'm on the second one. I do have to say the colour work drags a little bit because the chart the repeats are really long. I don't know the amount of stitches that you repeat, but because there is still 1 or 2 increases in the chart, you have like a hole in the middle, so you start left and right and then you get together at the end, so you have the whole repeat. So you have to pay really close attention to going from one end to the other and then skipping those 2 empty stitches because you don't have them yet, and then read through the rest. So yeah, I guess that's just me trying to say it's a really long repeat, so it does take a while for me to memorize it and to go from well, just to make one round. But I think it is so worth it for how it looks, and I can't wait to finish with the colour work portion. It's about 50 rows long, and then it's also just plain knitting from there. I really like the pattern. I think it also is really well written. I have no complaints and no issues yet. I hope there won't be any at all. I don't think there will. And I'm making size 1, I think. Let me check. I'm pretty sure it's size 1. Yes, size A. And it does have a lot of positive ease, which is why I'm making the smaller size, but I think it's gonna be really great, and I'm really looking forward to having this sweater. I've had this in my queue for a really long time, and I think this just screams autumn with the really nice brown and white colours, and I think it's going to be a very versatile garment as well, also under like dresses and stuff. So I'm really happy with the progress so far, and we'll see how much I can get done till next time, because I've realized that I also have my porcelain sweater, which I haven't worked on for a really long time, which is also colour work. I need to start picking that up again, but because I'm already doing 2, almost 3 colour work pieces with the porcelain sweater excluded, that's a lot. That's a lot of colour work, but I think I just need to pick it back up and get into the swing of things again, and then it's gonna be fine. So speaking of whips, I actually have 2 more, but let's get it. The other one, I'm really not far. So I bought some yarn, which I'm going to show you in a bit, and I cast on another sweater. It's really not a lot. You can't really see anything that's happening apart from it being a dark grey, what's that, trapezoid shape-ish. This is the beginning of a Lanak, a Kerr sweater by Rebecca Clow. It's also a colourwork sweater. Surprise, surprise. I'm just really enjoying colourwork at the moment, I think, but it's getting a bit out of hand. So someone needs to stop me. This is the Kerr sweater. This is the back panel. I just picked it up the other night because I just, like I said before, felt like something simple and easy in stockinette thing that I thought this might be a good start. I am making size 3, which is a first for me. Normally I am making size 1 or 2, but because the ease is not that much and her finished bust circumference fits what I would like in the sweater, I'm making size 3. And the yarn is a new yarn. This is Ferner Wolle Lambswool, and it's 100% wool. It's a non-superwash. Just trying to... There we go. Here it is. I binned the label already. Ferner Wolle 100% lamb's wool, merino, and it's the first cut. Ferner Wolle is an Austrian yarn producer. This is the first time I am trying this yarn, but I really wanted to try out this yarn and also see if I can find a local yarn producer from Austria, so I can get wool from them and kind of have it locally sourced and everything. And I'm really happy with it. It's really soft. It's a mixture of soft and rough at the same time, which is a really interesting combination because it is supposed to be merino wool, but it's also virgin wool, so non-superwash, and it gives it a bit of this rough texture. It also smells very sheepy, and the colour choices were actually not that bad. I bought the really dark grey. I think it's 1004. Yes, colour 1004, and it came so fast. So about the sweater, I'll get into the yarn in the yarn section. About the sweater, like I said, making size 3. It is a drop shoulder construction and it has colour work on the body and the sleeves. I will make the deeper colour work portion. At first I wanted to make the thinner one, but I actually like the look now of the deeper one a little bit more, so I'm trying the deeper one. I still have a lot to go to even get to the colour work portion, which is absolutely fine by me. I'm just happy to have something to knit on just mindlessly. And I think at least for the back portion, this will also be a great travel project, because now it really is just back and forth, because I finished with the increases for the shoulders or like along the neck. Ta-da! So that is another whip, and then the last whip that I have really is nothing special. I just cast it on and then I put it aside because I realized I do need to do the same thing I do on the Lanark. No, sorry, the Kerr. Why do I always mix these two up? I don't know why. I'm really sorry. The Kerr sweater, it has the same construction as the Eva cardigan, which is this. I am making size 1 because the positive ease is 26 centimeters, which is just really big for me. So making the smallest size. I might even modify it a little bit so it's not as deep around the armholes, but we'll get there when we come to it and when I have a little bit more than just the cast on edge. I am using drops Karisma in the color 77. It is a DK weight, 100% wool and a DK weight. So it's really great for the Eva cardigan. I just can't... No, that's not what I'm trying to say. I really want the cardigan. I don't know how long this will take me because it is a very big garment and there is a lot of purling involved. And I wanted to step back from purling after my Moby sweater and all of the cables, because those have done a bit of a number on my wrists and my hands. So I was trying to avoid it, but I need a cardigan, guys. I need a cardigan, and the Eva cardigan just seems to really fit the bill. I wanted something neutral so I can just throw that over when I'm going out. Although I'm not sure if this will actually be finished when I still need it, because it is hot now, but I tell you it will be super cold from one day to the next. So I might not even be able to wear that on its own, because I prefer sweaters over cardigans, because those give me more warmth. Anyways, I'm hoping to get a little bit of progress on that, but I really can't promise anything. This is just like a, I don't know, I just wanted to cast something on really quickly and have it on my needles kind of project. So there is that. Right, those were now all of my whips. We made it through. I know I have a lot of whips, and I'm not sure how I feel about that just yet, because those are a lot of projects to work on at once, and a lot of knitting, and also a lot of time that I have to kind of divide on all of them. But I have to say, the Alice sweater is making me just so happy to work on, that I think this will be the project I will have the most progress on. And I will pick up my porcelain sweater very soon, I promise, because I do want the finished garment. I just don't want to work on it at the moment, but I will come back to it, I promise. Right. Yarn acquisitions. I've already showed you the yarn acquisitions, because I already cast it on, because this is the yarn acquisition that I specifically got for the lilac sweater. So for, not lilac, Kerr, sorry, I'm really sorry about this. I don't know why my brain is just swapping these two patterns. They're completely different. I do want to make the lilac as well, but I think I heard the name just so many times that this is just the first one that comes to mind. Anyways, this is the main colour for the Kerr sweater. Like I said, 1004, a really nice dark grey colour. I saw the samples. A nice red would have also been fantastic, but I think I do want to have a red sweater. I might buy this yarn again in the really dark reds that they have, for just, I don't know, a standard one, or like a non-fancy one. Just a normal, I don't know, raglan or something. Because I don't want a red sweater, but with the colour work, I think the grey version just spoke to me the most. So I have the dark grey and then the off-white. I think I have white in almost all of my projects. I'm still very much in my beige phase. I don't think I'll be leaving anytime soon, even though I just said I want a red sweater. That might be like a Christmas cast on. This is colour 1001, also in Lambswool, and I think those two will just be making the most amazing colour work portion for the sweater. I do hope I have enough yarn. Meterage wise, I should do. This is actually not a DK weight, it's a little bit thicker. You need 4.5 to 5mm needles, and you get 140 meters in this 50-gram ball. I'm really not good with meterage and when it tells you what weight it is, so I always go by the needle size. It also feels a little bit thicker, but it should be fine. I mean, I measured the gauge with the portion that I have, and it's fine. Even if it's a bit denser than what I think it might be, a little bit bigger is always good. And I did check. I know my gauge varies very much in between knitting in the round and knitting flat. I just can't seem to get the gauge to be the same. Also, swatching, I hear you guys, it doesn't work for me. The swatch is perfect, but then the garment is different. So I've kind of given up on swatching because it just doesn't work for me. Alright, I'm just living a life on the edge, and I'm just using the needle size that I think the yarn will give me for the gauge that I need, and just do it. Maybe that's why everything comes out a bit too big for me, but hey ho, at least I don't have something too small or too tight, which is my worst nightmare. So this was my yarn acquisition. It came in this box. It's really funny. I still have the sticker with my address on. It's really funny because it's actually a shoebox. Can you see that? It's so funny because when the postman knocked on my door, he gave me this box and I was like, shoes? I didn't order any shoes, until I opened it and realized it's actually the yarn, because this yarn is for Tracht, so the traditional clothes that you wear in Austria and in Bavaria. They're called Tracht, and this is where the wool came from, because they also have their own shop with like socks and cable knit sweaters and all of that stuff. So I just thought that was really funny. Highly recommend ordering from them, getting their yarn. Their sock yarn is really nice, and now the Lambswool yarn, now that I've tried it, is also really nice. I do want to order more from them because they have some really cool like different yarns. They have a really big colour choice, and this was only €6, and I think that is more than affordable if you think about the average cost for 100% woolen non-superwash yarn. I know Drops is still the cheapest, but for €6 for good quality and locally sourced, I think that is an absolute steal. I know that Sandnesgan Double Sunday is also around €7 or something, so there is not a big difference. So this might actually be my new go-to woolly yarn. We'll see how the sweater turns out first, but I'm just saying. Right, so that was everything that I could show you today about my knitting. I have so many things planned. I have the video of my autumn plans out, and that is something that I'm so happy that I made this video, because those are all projects that I really truly want to make, and are not just ideas thrown out that I might want to make eventually. But I have 1, 2, 3 projects cast on that I mentioned in this video, which makes me even happier, because normally when I make these kind of videos, I just show you projects and say I would like to make them in the future, and then just never get round to it. But actually making something that you said on the internet to other people you're gonna make is just so much more fun. I'm hoping to get some really nice pictures with these things. I know I'm really behind on Instagram. I've just not had the motivation to upload a lot, mostly because of the algorithm. I am really deflated with how much work I put in, and I did exactly what people told me to do and what I know from my experience how social media works, and it just didn't work. So I kind of gave up on it. I'm still active semi-active, I would say, on it. I still communicate with people, I still like pictures and browse through new things, etc., but I just don't upload as much as I know I should do, especially with like the new projects or finished projects that I want to also share with my other community that might not necessarily be on my YouTube channel. So I hope you forgive me. I'm trying to be better, but taking good pictures is hard. Anyways, I think that is now really everything from me. I hope you have a good weekend whenever you are gonna watch this, and hopefully I will see you next time, and happy knitting. Bye!